All right, we're here today with Don Yochum at the Evansville Wartime Museum. Don served in the United States Navy. Don, can you tell us your name, the date you were born, and where you were born?
All right. My name is Don Yochum. Well, actually Donald L. Yochum, and but I go by Don Yochum, and I was born in Lawrence County, Illinois, which is just across the river from Vincennes, back on a farm. Yes. And after that, my parents, well, we had a flood that flooded us out, and so my parents then moved into Indiana, and we ended up living in Vincennes. I went to grade school in Vincennes at Sacred Heart Church, or school. I went to high school at the Catholic high school there in Vincennes, and then when I graduated there, my senior year, I talked to a Navy recruiter, and he said, about what they could offer. They said he offered a school and some training, and so I was, of course, underage, so my parents all had to sign permission for me to go. So I graduated on a Friday night, and on the next following Monday, I took a train to Louisville, took my physical, and went to Bainbridge, Maryland for my basic training. Basic training there. They also had school for people that was in the service, but it's preparing to go to the officer school. It was also there at the same time, and so and from once I graduated at boot camp, I was assigned to the USS Savage, which was at that time, its home port was Seattle, Washington, and of course, while I was at boot camp too, I also took training, for to be able to manage the paperwork, and to be, so when I went aboard the Savage, I was became in charge of the ship's office. The ship's office took care of all officers and sailors' records, and did a lot of, they had a lot of reports to make, things like that. So I was, and so I had a seaman apprentice, yeoman, which, so that taking care of the records for all those people was a job, because every time there was a change that in their rank or anything, it was recorded in their records. So that was always part of my job too. And then,
what type of ship was the Savage?
it was a destroyer escort radar. So called so it was a DER, which means it had extra radar and extra not only extra radar, but they also had where they also searched the air, you know, for different things. So, but we had mounted guns in the front and in the back, torpedoes in the back. So we were outfitted for battle, but it was peacetime. So we patrolled the west coast. And one of the things that I will never forget is one winter. Of course, the winter is always worse. And we were up off of Alaska, almost to Alaska coast. And it was a real rough sea. And I was up on the bridge when this happened, and it was, the waves were really tall and bad, and splashing over the top. And I know the captain of the ship was up there, and he said to at that time, and he said to the exec one time, because the ship rolled over with the wave, and he says, grab hold of something, because we're not coming back up.
No.
But anyway, God helped us, you know. The wave kind of backed off, and it settled back down. So, but my job was in the office there, was keeping all records. And it's the best thing, I think, that I really enjoyed was tell you many things about it. Everything that happened on the ship was recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So like every time somebody went on the ship's bridge, up, you know, where the steering wheel, they steered the ship and everything, that was recorded when somebody arrived there, went back, and all. So everything, so it was called the ship's log.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they did was recorded in the ship's log. And so that too was one of my jobs, was to type that up and mail it to the proper people. And of course it went in the ship's records.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you know, all the records for everybody on the ship was in this office.
Right.
And there was another yeoman the same too,
Mm-hmm.
in the office.
Right.
But anyway, that every move that's made, like up on the ship's deck, or up in where they steered the ship, every command and movement, it was recorded. So if they told the helmsman to steer 3 degrees left, that was recorded, or, you know, just everything.
Mm-hmm.
And our change speed and all that. So, all that.
Very detailed record of the ship was kept.
Detailed record of everything that happened. So that was part of my job.
Yeah.
Too. Plus the record. And ship's mail all came to my office, to that office. I opened the captain's mail, and I would stamp it then before I sent it to the captain. I stamp it with a stamp, and that stamp then would have other officers' names on it, where they would need to sign after they read this.
Right.
So, you know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I typed up, like, when sailors went on leave,
Mm-hmm.
I would type up their leave papers and stuff like that.
Now this was shortly after the Korean War?
Yeah, it was after, yeah, this was peacetime.
Uh-huh. So it was Cold War period. So was the tension high as far as being that close to Russia? I mean, you were on the West Coast and up near Alaska. Did you have a lot of tension as far as the Russians go?
No, the only time we had really had a thing was when we caught the Russians messing around with the cable, the underground cable from all around the world, right on our shore, you know, because you had all those lines back and forth. They were tankering there, and so we, at that time, so we called out the Air Force, and we charged up our depth charges, and we chased that submarine out of our territory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But then, so that was the most there, because this was all peacetime.
right.
Yeah. And so then at the time, when my first ship went to Pearl Harbor, I happened to be on leave. And so I picked a sister ship to go back to. So, and there was 8 in our squadron, and that's 6 of the DERs went to Pearl Harbor, and 2 stayed, and we patrolled back and forth, you know, on the West Coast all the time. Yeah.
So at that point, you were on a different ship.
I was on the USS Low.
Okay. And it was the same type of ship?
Same type ship. I had the same job. Yeah,
Gotcha.
sure enough. So, and one thing, you know, I had taken typing in high school, which helped me. And I remember whenever I was going up for a pay grade, I had to go to off base, and they had a specialist there to give me a typing test, and I just, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, that was kind of funny, but I did real well, because when I got finished, the guy sent a report back, and I had, believe it or not, I had typed 110 words per minute.
Man, that's fast.
After mistakes taken off.
Oh, that's really fast.
But anyway, yeah. And so, like I said, it was my job to when the sailors went on leave, why, it was to type up their leave papers and all that kind of stuff. Keep all their records up to date, any entries in their records, why. And also for the officers, why. That was my job, and the other ones there to get all that in there. But I still think I really enjoyed typing up the ship's log, because everything that happened, you know, it was just amazing, because and a good example is one time we were at sea, and the foreign countries, they use glass balls on their fishing nets. All right, some of those would break loose. Well, one of the ships that was on it, they thought that was great, because they could be on patrol, but then when they send these balls, that was a good time for the junior officers to practice, and they pick up some of those balls, and then some of the sailors would make a net and hang them over their heads in the bed, in their bed dorms.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. So my first ship was out of Seattle, and then after that it was down here in California on my second ship, and finished off there. But
In San Francisco or San Diego?
San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah. But then because I went in so early, when it came up, my ship was getting ready to go out to sea again. And captain called me up there and he says, "Going to send you over to the base, naval base for discharge." Because at that time, the Navy said when you went underage like I did, they had to discharge you for your 21st birthday.
Okay.
So
You were 17 when you went in?
16 or 17.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, time goes so fast.
Sure it does.
But anyhow, so I called my parents. Oh, they were glad. So anyway, so I got out before my 21st birthday. Of course, I could have re-enlisted for 4 years, you know, but and they got discharged. My parents was at the gate waiting on me. They had driven out there,
Yeah.
so they were kind of anxious for me to get home.
Yeah, I bet so.
So anyway, those were my Navy days.
All right,
And,
so
my battle station was on the bridge up there with the captain, and I was on the telephone and relayed his orders to different ones, like you know, for the gunnery, and when it was time to, when they thought they was going to use depth charges, call them up and say, you know, get the depth charges ready to go. So, yeah, and my second ship, the USS Low, I was on it, and also had the same station as did on the Savage, and I know we had it was a practice there, something we had to go through. Go. And anyway, the ship, in this deal, I guess, you know, the things we had to run through and do, we came out in top, and so we were awarded the battle efficiency emblem to put on our sleeves.
okay,
That was to everyone on the ship. In the ship. Yeah.
cool.
So, yeah.
So after, tell us what you did for a living after your Navy days.
After that, okay, went back in Vincennes, and I started to work at Brown Shoe Company, which was, they're big in Vincennes. And that didn't work there very long, and then I got a job with a trucking company. And so I drove a semi-truck, picking up and delivering. And when you're the trucking company I was working for in Vincennes, the owner was in Terre Haute, and he decided he wanted to kind of split his work, so let part of the Terre Haute move into part of the Evansville area, and then of course, or the Vincennes area, and in Vincennes we would go over into southern Illinois and pick up different factories and stuff. And at that time, the big battery factory was in Vincennes, and man from Evansville with a truck line, but was up there at the battery factory, and I don't know who he talked to, but anyway, they told him about me, And so then he looked me up and offered me a dispatcher's job in Evansville with the truck line. So I dispatched for truck lines here in Evansville. Then became a driver. I drove all around here, all the way down into Kentucky and back over, now all the way back and all around this area with for Consolidated Freightways.
Gotcha.
And then after that, that's about it, really.
And you retired, and you've been a volunteer at the Wartime Museum for the last 3 years.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know if it's 2 years, but time goes so fast.
Yeah, it sure does.
But yeah, the trucking company I worked for, they owned another company, trucking company, and so the one I was working for went out of business. So, yeah. So then I did a little bit of work around town, and then the church was going to Good Shepherd Church, and at that time doing different things there, and one thing I remember doing, I always went to church mass on a Friday, and all the local farmers that went to Good Shepherd come in there, so we filled up the chapel. But anyway, on Friday mornings then, I started doing a communion service for everybody. And then one of the deacons that's here in Evansville said to me, "Why don't you become a deacon?" So I did. So then after that I was deacon for a while at Good Shepherd.
Okay.
Parish. Then went to St. Teresa. Then St. Teresa had a change of leadership, and then the person who took over there in charge of the school and the church requested from the bishop in writing to get me over there
See.
to help him.
Sure.
So I did that until probably 2005, when St. Teresa then closed. And that time, I was making, like all the hospital visits and all that kind of stuff for the church. And so I've pretty much been involved, with the church.
Sure.
And it's done me well.
Yeah. Yeah, you served your nation and you served your church community.
And that's when my eyesight started going bad. And so now I know.
So the next step is to New Orleans.
It's outside of New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's in Louisiana. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little place called Luzing,
Gotcha.
spelled L-U-L-I-Z, Louisiana.
And you have a daughter living there.
I have a daughter there, and originally it was her idea. She wanted to move out of her house, out of New Orleans, because of carjackings and everything. So anyway, she called with the idea that maybe we could move down with her if she bought a big house. So after consideration and thinking about it, that with our age and no other family here, but a lot of great friends.
Sure.
We hate to leave them, but anyway, so we went down and looked at some houses with their big houses. Seemed like every time we looked at one and thought it was a great house, the realtor would say, "Oh, so-and-so's coming and putting their deposit on it tomorrow." So, but anyway, we're going to be in a little locality down there. It's a small place. Yeah, but this is a huge house.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we thank you for doing this, for doing this interview with us today, and for your service to the nation and to this community. And we're going to miss you here at the Evansville Wartime Museum.
Well, we're going to miss it too, because we really enjoy it.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's,
You know, we got a lot of great friends here at the museum, and we just love coming out here.
Well,
Yeah.
we will stay in touch with each other.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.